Hi there. Later, Ireland's first LGBTQ+ barbershop and salon. First though, a neo-Nazi extremist who discussed plans for a terror attack on an LGBTQ+ group in Scotland has been jailed for 10 years. Among the weapons found at the home of Alan Edward from Falkirk were a crossbow, 14 knives, a tomahawk, a samurai sword and a stun gun. In a WhatsApp chat, the 55-year-old said their little gay club, as he called it, will pay in blood. Christopher Clanichan from the Equality Network tells Sky News, this kind of thing's hardly unexpected.
I think over the last few years we've witnessed a rising toxic anti-LGBTI culture here in Scotland and the UK. So whilst it's very frightening, I don't imagine it being entirely unsurprising to many.
A court heard Edward believed in white supremacy and posted homophobic, racist and anti-Semitic abuse online. An anti-LGBTQ+ law in Lithuania has been ruled unconstitutional by the country's top court. The legislation banned informing children about same-sex relationships because they denigrate family values, but the constitution guarantees the right to seek, receive and impart information and ideas. And the Republic of Ireland's got its very first LGBTQ+ barbershop and salon. Queerhawk in Dublin aims to be a safe space where everyone can just be themselves and feel comfortable talking about their lives. The name comes from Queerhawk, which is Irish slang for someone who's a bit eccentric or unusual, aka me. Hi there. Later, a gay marriage proposal on ice. First though, a blackmailer who got queer young men to send him nudes online and then demanded money has been sentenced to 4 years in prison. Omoruyi Ouadie is 29 and from Chicago. A 17-year-old victim who refused to pay was outed to his mum and other relatives, plus friends and classmates. Legal expert James Olby tells Fox 31 Denver, sextortion, as it's known, is a lot more common than we realise.
It's embarrassing, so a lot of these people don't want to come forward and report to law enforcement, and it's just easier to pay them off, a couple $100. Be careful about where you're sending your pictures, who's taking pictures of you, what websites you're subscribing to.
Ouadie targeted 8 young men in Colorado, Ohio and Washington. Quite a few were in the closet. You're more likely to be drawn to queer activism because of your narcissistic grandiosity. So there. The International Academy of Sex Research has been looking into the reasons why people show up for LGBTQ+ rights. It finds those with high narcissistic tendencies often want to showcase their moral superiority, so virtue signalling, and exploit queer activism for attention, status or power. And a man's proposed to his boyfriend in the middle of the famous ice rink at New York's Rockefeller Center. Craig Buchholz arranged to have the venue cleared so he could get down on one knee for his fella Sebastian West, who said yes, thankfully, didn't give him the cold shoulder. The pair had one of their first dates there a few years ago. No time to tell you that in South Africa, the Durban Gay and Lesbian Film Festival returns for a 3-day end-of-year event from this Saturday. And today is the 100th anniversary of the Society for Human Rights, the first gay rights organisation in America. Hi there, and happy Christmas if you're celebrating. We're kicking off another week of queer cheer with 2024's more upbeat stories. Later, the gay safe sex ads that were just too cheeky. First, though ho ho. Chris Martin's invited a transgender Coldplay fan on stage during a gig in Ireland. The singer spotted a sign being held up by James.
This is a very brave and beautiful sign. It's the first time anyone's ever put up a sign that says this. And so I'm going to say thank you for giving us this honour, okay? This says, trans fan. Coldplay, save my life, it's my dream, come on stage. Okay.
This was at Croke Park in Dublin. And Chris Martin wasn't done with being just the bestest trans ally ever.
You saved my life. It's the same. It works both ways, I'm afraid. We need you as much as you need us, you see. That's how it works.
James's sister Hannah has posted online, says hearing the stadium cheer for him was incredible. For the first time, a wax figure of an out non-binary celebrity at Madame Tussauds in Sydney. It's drummer and singer G Flip.
It was pretty crazy. They took photos from every angle of me and matched up my eye colour and my hair colour and my eyebrow colour, and I think they're going to mould my butt cheeks.
Filth. The wax figure will take 10 months to make. Some gay safe sex adverts have been withdrawn in New Zealand, basically because they're a bit filthy. One showed a cartoon of a bare bum bum with the slogan, "First timers enter here." Another ad reimagined the letters I and O as a gentleman's rude bits. 86 complaints were made. All by me. Disgusting. Plans have been approved for what's thought to be the first LGBTQ+ cinema in London. It's being named after Dorothy Arzner, a pioneering lesbian filmmaker. Should open later this year in Bermondsey in South London. So that's good news if you fancy being taken up the Arzner. And we'll finish with possibly my favourite thing this year. Behold, the That's So Gay sound machine.
Let's get one thing straight. I'm not. This old thing? Oh, I've had it for days. Look at you, Miss Thing.
No, you're a gay stereotype. This is doing the rounds on TikTok right now, thanks to user Chuck Dayton. He's recorded himself playing all 25 options. Here's a few more.
It's not homophobia, sugar. Everyone hates you. What happens in Gagus stays in Gagus. Holla at you later, homo.
Hi there, got some more queer cheer for you. Later, the Benga Boys vastly improve an anti-trans demo. First though, the inaugural Gender Liberation March has been held in America outside the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. More than 1,000 people took part, calling for transgender rights, the actors Elliot Page and Julio Torres among them. Across America, hundreds of anti-trans laws have either been passed or they're being proposed. Author and activist Raquel Willis is one of the organisers. She tells ABC News it's not a new thing to be trans.
Our experiences are not something that just kind of fell out of the sky yesterday, as many folks have thought. We have elders, we have ancestors and transcessors who remind us that queer, trans, and non-binary folks have always existed.
The march was also pushing for abortion rights. Johannesburg Pride's been celebrating its 35th anniversary. Proudly African, Authentically You was this year's theme, with hundreds of people turning out to march. South Africa's very progressive on LGBTQ+ rights, but elsewhere on the continent, being queer carries the death penalty. Johannesburg's Mayor Dada Marrero spoke at the event.
The Joburg Pride should champion the struggle to free all those who are oppressed in the African continent. In Zimbabwe, in Uganda, in Ghana, must be free and live their lives free.
How best to deal with anti-trans simpletons? Envelop them in ABBA and the Benga Boys. Only a few members of Women Will Speak showed up for a demonstration in Australia. They were vastly outnumbered by trans queer solidarity protesters who brought their sound system and some excellent music choices. Unfortunately, Women Will Speak co-founder Michelle Uriaro could be heard.
Humans cannot change sex. Men can never be women. No child is born in the wrong body.
The demo was outside Parliament House in Melbourne, and it would be remiss not to give you a snatch of the Benga Boys disinfecting this speech.
Having raised 2 sons and 5 grandchildren for 4 years now, they've cut me out.
I admire her candour. Eggs and water balloons were thrown during the protest, and one person was arrested. The playlist also included Aqua and the Communards. A non-binary category's been added to next year's Tokyo Marathon. Brings the race into line with the world's other big events in Berlin, Boston, Chicago, London and New York. There'll also be gender-neutral bathrooms and changing areas along the route. And WWE's signing up an evil gay. That's the nickname of Aaron Rourke, who's the first out queer wrestler to join the new ID programme. This supports the development of independent pro wrestling talent with funding, training and mentoring. The 28-year-old's finisher is the figure 8 leg lock, and I have no idea what any of those words actually mean. It's queer cheer between Christmas and New Year. Later, gay flamingos. First though, a new transgender rights laws come into effect in Germany. The Self-Determination Act allows trans, non-binary and intersex people to legally change their gender identity without having to jump through hoops. No more requirements for psychiatric assessments and court hearings. Gabriel Knox-Coney from the German Trans Association tells DW this'll just make life easier.
Imagine not to be able to pay with your card in a store, not be able to go to the doctor and show your insurance without being accused of fraud, or depending on the situation, having the police called on you. With the new law, these day-to-day discrimination situations will fade.
For those aged under 18 who want to self-certify, the rules are different. Parents or legal guardians have to be involved. Same-sex marriage has been legalised in Thailand. The King has now endorsed a marriage equality bill that was passed by Parliament earlier this year. It comes into effect in January. Human rights advocate Mukdapa Yangyuan Pradon tells ABC News Australia the message this sends is important.
It's telling that you cannot just only see heterosexual couples now. There are couples of people of all genders in Thailand that you cannot neglect that they exist. It will also opens up for more level of acceptance and less discrimination.
This makes Thailand the first country in Southeast Asia to recognise same-sex marriage. The new law also provides adoption and inheritance rights. Thousands of dollars have been raised for an LGBTQ+ anti-bullying charity, and it's all thanks to some homophobic knuckle-draggers. They made fun of gay waiter Noah Bierig, who was serving them in a restaurant in Kansas, and instead of leaving a tip, they wrote a homophobic insult on their receipt, which made him cry. But after a photo of it went viral, allies left tips for the 19-year-old online. He tells Cake News it's all going to the Glisten charity.
They talk to a lot of the LGBTQ plus kids in school, and if they're getting bullied, then they'll go to help them. It's a really incredible organization. I honestly wish that, I knew something like that was around when I was still in high school, because I'm sure that would have helped, and I know a lot of kids that also would have helped.
His restaurant, Bubba's 33, is matching the money raised. One of the homophobes has since apologised to Noah, but only after he was identified on socials and torn a new one. I fear the right-wing media is going to go berserk. A same-sex flamingo couple have successfully hatched an egg. Staff at a zoo in Devon in the UK think it might have been abandoned, so Curtis and Arthur have stepped up as adoptive daddies. Same-sex parenting is a known thing with flamingos. In a zoo in America, power couple Freddie Mercury and Lance Bass used to act as surrogates until their amicable breakup 2 years ago. And an attention-seeking bedwetter's not happy about a bit of queer inclusion in an online game. Web phishing lets you have titles above your character's head, saying gay, trans, pan, etc. So of course some loser goes, "Where's the straight option?" The developers actually added one in response, but while the other titles cost $75 in-game dollars, to have the straight label sets you back $9,999. I'm Kev McGrath. We'll bring you more queer cheer on Monday.